Hey everyone, welcome back to my Georgia garden. Today we are planting 3 butterfly bush on the hillside behind me. It is early August, it is hot, it is humid, but these butterfly bushes love the heat. So they are going to do great planted this time of year. And my goal is to get these planted and established before the fall when we get a little bit cooler and get our first frost. So let me show you what I will be planting here today. I have 3 dwarf butterfly bushes, or buddleia, in 1-gallon containers that will be going up on my hillside garden underneath my crabapple tree in this area right here. And these are from Proven Winners, part of the Pugster series. This is Pugster Amethyst. You can tell by these beautiful lavender colored flowers here. I just love this color. It really stands out from a distance, and I do have one planted in my garden already that I can show you here in a minute. But let me just give you a few of the specs on this one. So butterfly bushes are full sun plants. You want to give these as much sun as possible, even here in the south. I'm going to be planting these in a full sun location where they get sun from about noon through sunset. They are hardy in zones 5 to 9. The size is very petite, only 2 feet tall and wide, and spacing is about 2 feet as well. You'll see under soil and water, it says well-drained soil. This is a very important point for butterfly bush. They do not like wet feet, and that is very important for planting in the south with our clay soils. So it is very important to make sure that these plants are planted a little bit high in your clay soil so they get good drainage. Especially during the winter time, the soils tends to stay a little bit on the wetter side through the winter months. That can cause your butterfly bush to get root rot and potentially die. So in order to make sure that your butterfly bush are thriving, we are going to plant them a little bit high in our clay soils. And today I'm actually planting these on a slope, so that will be even better for the drainage. So where did I find Pugster butterfly bushes in 1-gallon containers this time of year? Well, I actually ordered online from Proven Winners Direct. I have ordered from them many times in the past, and I've had both good and bad experiences with this, especially ordering at this time of year. Whether it's July or August, it's a tough time to be shipping plants, especially in this heat and humidity. However, I have had success with butterfly bushes. Since I've had success shipping butterfly bushes this time of year, I felt a little more confident doing that again this season, and I just opened the boxes here the other day. I did give these a good drink the other day after they came out of their boxes, and I cut off a little bit of the dried up blooms. There's always going to be a little bit of this when you're shipping plants. So I went ahead, cut that off, and then I have a few more spent blooms to cut off after I get these in the ground. I gave them a little bit more water this morning just to make sure that the root ball is not dry before I put these in the ground. Let me show you where we are going to plant these today. So these 3 butterfly bush are getting planted underneath my crabapple tree. This one was added to the garden last spring and is doing great. Have some beautiful fruits on it this season. See that? The reason I'm adding these to this part of the garden today is because I originally had 3 echinaceas planted here. There's a really small one right here, another one right here, and then this one's doing the best and has the most flowers right here. I planted these a couple years back and they just aren't thriving in this spot. I am just really underwhelmed by their performance, so I'm going to start with a small shovel so I can inspect the area and see what we have going on underneath the soil. I'm going to pull back the pine straw so we don't get any of that in the hole. Oh, there's an earthworm. Hey, buddy. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry for disturbing you. I know, getting some resistance on this side of the plant. Oh, I really hope I'm not getting these tree roots. Trying to avoid tree roots while you're digging out a perennial, not an easy task. Okay. Yikes. Wow, there's so many roots going through here. I wanted to show you what this hole looked like with the roots running through it. You can see I have some bigger roots right here and right here that are they were just going straight through the echinacea into the surrounding soil. And then this one maybe got cut. I'm not sure. This one came from a different direction, so I'm not really sure what that one was from. And then of course I have a lot of smaller superficial roots, probably from the echinacea underneath. I was hoping that I could just dig up the echinacea, throw the butterfly bush in the hole, and this would be a really easy job. But now I have to consider that some of these roots, at least the ones coming from this direction over here, these bigger ones, may be from the crabapple tree. And if that's the case, I really don't want to disturb these. So I have a couple options. One, I could just try to, I guess, dig a little bit further this way. I may run into more roots there. Or I can try to dig some of these roots out and kind of push them to the side. Look at this. Okay, let's see. I might try to see how far these roots actually go. This is a rock, I think. Oops. No, it's not. That's just my hard clay. Plants are amazing, the fact that they can root into soil like this. Okay. I do have earthworms in here too, which is a great sign. You see that? Don't want to disturb them too much. You all probably think, why is she doing this the hard way? Why isn't she just using an auger or a big shovel and just going to town on this dirt? Well, this crabapple tree was an investment, and I'm not going to potentially damage it and stress it out this time of year in the heat of the summer. So I'm going to try to be as careful as I can. Okay, let's see just how well rooted in these butterfly bushes are. Okay, these are well rooted in. You can see this pancake forming on the bottom where all the roots start to wrap around themselves. They're actually not really a problem. Sometimes these can get really matted down. I'm just going to tickle the roots a little bit here on the bottom to make sure that the roots grow outward rather than continuing to wrap around themselves on the bottom. Then I'm going to kind of loosen up the sides here. Okay, this one's in pretty good shape, so I don't need to do a whole lot. Butterfly bush, again, do not want to get planted too deep, so I cannot plant these. I really can't dig this hole any deeper than it already is. I have one root right in the middle of the hole that I want to plant. You see this, how it's much looser now? I was able to trace the root far enough into the soil where I could loosen it up a little bit so I can move it off to the side out of the planting hole. Let's try this again. Oh, that's much better. I think the hole depth is perfect for this one. You can see that the butterfly bush is positioned above the soil grade, about an inch above the soil, and this is going to assist with drainage. I'm also going to tilt the root ball a little bit with the angle of the slope, and that will also assist with helping the water during heavy rains drain away from the plant and down the slope. I'm adding a little bit of Biotone starter fertilizer to assist with root growth. I do this with all my plantings on the hillside because of the tough growing conditions up here. I'm also going to add just a little bit of soil conditioner. This is a mix of compost and pine bark. So the goal here is just to break up the clay a little bit to assist with drainage, but not add too much to the soil as to cause even wetter conditions. Sometimes we add too much organic matter to the soil and that can end up being an area that stays too wet. I'm going to check for any air pockets around the edges here. Okay, all done. That one is looking great. First butterfly bush is in the ground and I think it is looking great. I love these flowers. They really do shine from a distance, and that's really what I'm going for up here in my slope garden. One of the reasons I chose this series of butterfly bush was these flowers. How big they are. Let me show you the one that I have in the ground already. This is also Pugster amethyst. Look at the structure of these flowers. They're just beautiful. They're really long and they extend out like this. I just love how they can get so big at the base. I think these flowers just create a bigger impact than some of my other butterfly bushes that have smaller flower clusters. So I'm really excited to add more of these to my garden. This one I also ordered from Proven Winners 2 years ago. At the same time of the year, I planted this in July of 2024, I believe. And this was actually a quart pot. So you can see just how well this one has grown in the last 2 years, starting from a quart size. And it is still quite petite. It's really no more than maybe 1.5 feet tall and wide at this point. And it just adds that beautiful pop of color to the garden. You can also tell that this is a well-drained location because look at this lamb's ear. Isn't that gorgeous? It's just huge and it looks so pretty. This one is doing so well. So I figure if the lamb's ear is doing this good this time of year, then butterfly bush are also going to do great. All right, I have all 3 Pugster amethyst butterfly bushes in the ground, and they are going to love this sunny spot. I did come around and deadhead the spent blooms off the top, and I think I'm going to leave a few of these flowers for the butterflies. It's a pretty hot day here today, but we are supposed to get a lot of rain tomorrow. So these will all get watered in deeply within the next 24 hours. One more look. Here is a zoomed out view of the plantings. Here's my thriving lamb's ear, and I have an Amsonia here, and then the 3 butterfly bushes, which will bring out that purple pop of color like this one right here. And then Dragon Prince Cryptomeria, more Amsonia in the back. I have an El Nino desert orchid right here. And then of course my crabapple tree. This crabapple doesn't get too big, but it will take a while to get a decent canopy on it. So I don't have to worry about this tree shading these out for many, many years. So again, these get 2 feet tall by 2 feet wide. They stay compact and they bloom all summer long. All right, it is hot, it is humid. I am so glad I got these butterfly bushes in the ground. That is all for today. Let me know in the comments what you have planned for your garden this August, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.